7:01.
7:01.
Pretty good time.
So where are the cameras?
We have one right here.
Okay. Okay.
We have one right there.
Okay.
We also have a wide shot right here.
Okay.
And it looks like we have a double wide shot back there.
Hello everybody and welcome to Theory Thursday with MikeRuggirello. This is our first live chat, episode 1. We're going to be discussing the San Diego Music Awards with our beautiful panel here.
Esteemed. That was not esteemed panel. Yeah,
Esteemed,
that's what we're going
beautiful.
for. Yes.
It's beautiful.
We do what we can.
We have special guests too.
I'll take beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. We got one beautiful and four esteemed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So.
steamy.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe. Yeah.
Great job launching
Smoldering.
that show, Jason.
That's
So this is obviously a new platform,
a new format.
a new format.
Something new. Yeah, so yeah, tell us about it. What are we going to be doing today?
So ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for tuning in live 7 p.m. That's right. We were probably about a minute off, but who cares? You know, it's just typical musician time. I would like to introduce, just like Jason said, but a nice introduction to our guest here tonight. Prolific writer, multimedia, mastermind, rock and roller, Bart Mendoza.
If any of that was true, he wouldn't have had to read it off
what I
the
was
list.
gonna say,
You know,
right?
if any of that was true, it's like, why am I clapping?
What's my line?
We also have art pop artist, singer songwriter Ariel Levine.
Yay!
Guitar player extraordinaire.
Also, of course, the co-host Jason Thomas. But,
Yay!
and then we also have a nice, do I dare say, accessory
Oh,
guest.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Bart,
In this
take
day
it
and age-
over.
Yeah. Who we have here, this is Emily Bartell, who she's a booker at Navajo Live, and she also does shows at Humphreys Backstage Live and other places like that. And she also manages bands and works a lot with music, including well, she does a bit of stuff for the Music Awards, but this year she'll be booking a stage at Arderond Adams, amongst many other endeavors, mostly to do with music.
Yay!
Booking tours now too.
Booking
Welcome.
tours now too.
Yeah.
Did you know that Emily and I are very vaguely related to each other?
Is that right?
Yes.
Are you
And this-
Susan's sister or
I
cousin?
know Susan is my first cousin,
Okay.
and her husband.
Your first cousin is married to my father's uncle.
Yes.
So
And-
you are
A little elaborate.
my dad's uncle's wife's cousin.
Sounds like an
There
old
you
country
go.
song.
Yeah. Technically my stepdad, so it's,
We're
it's
related.
even more distant. you
Yeah.
know.
So yeah, so basically what it comes down to is the short version of it is Ariel is her grandmother.
Exactly.
That's it. Just, I don't know, just
And
start
I'm
all
my own
convoluted.
grandpa.
Somehow
Sorry,
it
be
works out.
careful if the microphone's really
Oh,
sensitive. So
I forgot
when
that
you
there
get
was
your
one on.
chested,
I apologize.
You have a lot of
Like
lovely
a
jewelry
Spaceballs
on.
thing
It's
on there.
my armor.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wear armor.
Yes, you do. So you speak to a lot of musicians. I'm so sorry.
I text with a lot of musicians much better than talking to them.
That's obviously
No,
a lot
you didn't
easier.
hear
Yeah, it is a lot easier. If you answer the text. There
Yes,
is
if,
that,
yes. No,
So-
I'm very happy to be able to meet all these different musicians at different stages of their careers, and if I hear something that they need or want to do, and I can help provide it for them, I just want to. I love the music scene
Awesome.
here, and there's so much going on.
There is.
I'm happy to be a part of it and hosting different stuff and building, new alliances.
And relationships.
Yes.
And you and I are new friends. So
Yes, absolutely.
clearly we're going to be running into each other more. And thank you for bringing here, because another thing I wanted to say is that you book for Navajo Inn, correct?
I book for Navajo Live, but
Navajo
I also
Live?
Yes, Navajo Live in San Carlos, La Mesa area, and I host their Monday acoustic open mic as well as I host mainly the Wednesday band showcase, where I try to bring new bands that might not have a following. I bring two bands together from different parts of town to try and cross-pollinate their followers, help them build a following so that they can then start getting booked, because you have to think of both sides. There's, hey, you've got great talent, but if you can't get anybody in the venue, no one's going to book you. So I try and help build that relationship.
That's a very important dynamic. Thank you for doing that. I just add, I used to have residency there for like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from like 2004 all the way to 2007.
Well, it's
I
one
would-
of the-
Well,
you're
the
looking
owner,
for bands.
the owners, the owners of Navajo Live, the ones that I know, have only been there for four.
Right, those are
4
the new
years.
owners. So
Yes, Chris Haney, and
The real takeaway from all this is that it's great that people are becoming involved in music that want to help other people, like Emily is. But also the fact of the matter is that the music scene is now branching out from the centralized, Casbah area downtown, and the general, south of the 8, north of, that kind of thing. It's been very centralized this time. And now, as the city itself is experiencing growing pains, you're starting to see other communities come into their own. North County, in particular, is doing really, really well right now with the poorhouse, et cetera. But also, South Bay is coming into its own with the Manhattan Bar and lots of
Yes.
other, just all kinds of bands coming out of down there. Somebody was telling me about a possible music festival in October down in Imperial Beach that may be happening. So there is a lot of things cross-pollinating and a lot of branching out into other areas, new places to play, which is really, really
Exciting.
nice. It is actually exciting. Somebody wrote on a Facebook page yesterday that, was it their imagination or is the San Diego scene at its best point ever? And I had to go, it's not your imagination. Things really, really are good. I stand by what I've said before, that we have the best music scene on the planet. But it just...
bold statement.
It is a bold statement,
Oh, it's
and as I like to point out, I was actually called on that statement by a lawyer, and I presented my facts, and I won. So I still,
true?
it is
Touche.
very true. It is very true for a number of reasons, ranging from the amount of venues that allow original music, which is hundreds in San Diego, to the amount of free music festivals, to the amount of media coverage that you get here. And I'll give you an example. Every community in the country, possibly the planet, has a good morning Seattle, good morning Omaha. I didn't have to sing it, but what the hell. Okay, but you know what I'm talking about. Everybody has one of those shows. San Diego's got multiples on those. You could actually go from KUSI to the CW to Fox News in the morning, whatever.
They all have their jingle.
Yeah, another jingles like that. Another big thing for San Diego that other places don't have that is pretty amazing is that we have a lot of locally produced music shows, like Live from the Belly Up Tavern on PBS. What's the one on
Sound Diego.
San Diego, and there's other ones as well. Another big thing is that, for example, in the rest of the country, the rest of the world, if you were trying to get on a clear channel station to get airplay, even for a local channel, you'd have to make calls, make appointments, get to the barbed wire fence, sign off with the guard, look at the machine gun, get past the guard dogs with the moat and the crocodiles and all that kind of stuff. Here, you just talk to Tim Piles and go like, hey Tim, can you play me on Sunday? Yeah, okay, how about 9:15? You want to come in?
It's really easy to get on the radio.
Yeah,
in this town.
so it's really, and then the other big one, which is the one that applies to me in particular, is the fact that there is no place else on the planet that has this much press coverage for local music, period. I mean, beyond, you got City Beat, Pacific Magazine, The Reader, the San Diego Union Tribune, then all the community papers, then all, so it goes from there. It's just it's a plethora of riches. Now, the problem with that is, well, the other plus is that all of this is possible because we live in a military town, which means tens of thousands of young men and women come in every year from the ages of 18 to 24 looking for something to do. That's a big one. Two, we're a major tourist market. So those two things in conjunction with people here in San Diego caring about their own community a lot. I mean, I was in Los Angeles a while back, and I remember seeing trash in the streets of a particular, going like, wow, this is really messy. And I walking through North Park and whatever, it's relatively nice, and Balboa Park is not trashed, and it's a really nice community here, and I think people appreciate that. Now that said, for all the goodness, we have the same problem with every other community on the planet, which is we need more people coming to shows. And
It's good old San Diego
Gotta
laziness.
get 'em off the
no,
too much to do.
no, not at all, not at all. I think you guys are making a standard mistake. I hear that all the time. San Diego laziness, whatever. Tell me what community on the planet they have where people are dying to see tons of original music. The clubs are always packed and people are making tons of money. because I'll move there right away.
Europe.
Yeah, no such thing. There's
Japan.
no place like that. There's no such place like
Yeah,
that.
I think each town has their own excuse as to why that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but it's the same everywhere. Just like every town has their old blues guy that didn't make it, the power pop band from the 70s that almost got signed, the singer-songwriter that was, the one that was on Letterman. Every town's got that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Every town's got their bands that they're trying to promote, the same that we are. It's just that because of the way our landscape, our population, our proximity to the border, we actually kind of win this one a little bit. We got the arts here, and
You must admit that computers, getting people to get off their computers is a new situation that we have to deal with. That's why
it's a new situation we have to deal with, but it's one everybody's been talking about since they invented the computer.
Right, but that's why, like when I do live streams, I'll only do 3 songs of an artist
Well,
because I want people to
I
come
do
in.
feel that you're giving away everything if you do the whole thing.
Right.
Selective things like that. The other
Exactly,
thing
not
too
more
is
than
that
3.
I don't like it when people film parts of my show and put it online without asking.
Yeah.
I don't like
no,
that.
they
That's
shouldn't.
for sure.
Yeah,
agree
I don't
with
like that either.
That
I
should
always,
never
anytime
happen.
I film anybody, I'll DM or I'll
Yeah.
say, hey, I got
Yeah.
this. I give it to them,
Yeah.
and then I let them decide.
And by the
I
way,
did do it to
Yeah.
you guys at
Oh, it's
your
okay
last
though,
show.
but that was already.
But I was,
Yeah.
already,
Well,
I was
I mean,
That
learning.
was already out there.
Yeah.
It was already live
amongst
streamed.
amongst friends, I'll give a pass. It's your friend. He's taping your show. But also, I want to say to anybody out there that wants to go up to a band and say, "Hey, can I film you?" Be prepared to get a no answer.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just don't
Absolutely.
like it, and
it's-
please, because I've seen people get really upset at other people. I always say yes
And
because they
depending
ask.
on
But
what you're doing,
In the
you
situation, whatever,
should
yeah.
be saying no.
comedians
don't
don't
want that
want their jokes out on the internet before they're ready to release
Right.
them, and so there are reasons why these things don't happen. So just like I said, if you're going to ask a musician of something, be prepared for a possible no answer and be nice about it, because
But hopefully that's getting them to, you were talking
Yes.
about
Yeah.
getting people in the clubs.
getting people in the clubs. Oh yes, oh wow, rock and roll all night.
It's time for.
Now we're going to start Detroit Rock City in 3 minutes. Okay, so anyway,
Gotta play with the new toys.
we do need to get more people in the audiences. Anybody that's got suggestions for that? I will say that one thing that has worked, and I'm really kind of glad about this. Sorry to be monopolizing all this, but ooh,
Bart,
yeah.
Bart, some of the reason you were here, my friend, is pave the way, my friend.
Okay, well, this is what I see as a plus. Right now, one of the things that San Diego has going for it, which is amazing,
door.
is the jazz community, which is popular. There's tons of young jazz players, and that is a direct result of people like J.P. Balma at Mission Bay High School, Gilbert Castellanos with his Young Lions program, and yes, Kevin Hellman with the Guitars for Schools program, actually getting to the youth and nurturing that from the ground floor up. Now, all of these kids that are coming through these musical programs are not going to stay in jazz. Some of them will quit music, some of them will go into other things, but they're seeding the scene with new players and new audiences with that. And you can see that in the fact that we're one of the few communities that has a vibrant, growing jazz scene. I mean, look at what happens Wednesdays at Panama 66 and Dizzy's and all these other places. It's amazing what's going on. It's great to see these kids, 14 to 19 years old, out there playing music at that level. It's stunning. So
Even
what I
younger
would like
nowadays.
to see, and the other thing too, and this is an observation, maybe I'm wrong, it happens, but right now the singer-songwriter scene is kind of dead. It's kind of dead.
Not for me.
Well, it is for a lot
My
of people.
singer-songwriter showcase is
It's
doing wonderfully.
I
It's
think
getting
that
bigger and bigger. And I'm
in way
loving
too
it.
many ways, it almost became too easy to be, a singer-songwriter. Like anybody could do it. And that was one of the things with singer-songwriters. You remember from the 90s, anybody can do this. Grab a guitar, anybody can do it, anybody can do it. They took the cool factor out of it a little bit. Everybody that does jazz can't play jazz.
Well, getting back
True.
to the
Everybody just can't just play jazz. So
the San Diego music scene, just saying once again, the singer-songwriters in this town, the writing that's going on, so impressive. And yeah, so I'll be the one to say, yeah, no other place is better than San Diego.
Well-
we've got the best music scene around.
I firmly, going a little off track here, but moving around, but I honestly think that the level of musicianship that's happening right now, I mean, the world has changed, but there was times when people talked about Liverpool 64 or San Francisco 67 or Seattle 93 or whatever, those eras. And I really think that people will talk about this era in San Diego music as that. One of the reasons why we have not been tagged like Seattle or the other places I mentioned is because San Diego does not have a unifying sound. The jazz scene is just as vibrant as the pop rock scene, which is just as vibrant as what you're saying is, the different things. So there is no one focus. It's on everything in music. And
Too much to do.
and everybody and the other thing too is that everybody cross pollinates. The jazz players know the rock players who know the country guys who used to be in the R&B band that used to. So it's a very, very tight knit community. We're saying it is very much a family, and we all kind of grew up together. So that's a different thing, which still doesn't get us a bigger audience. But with music like what Ariel did on his new album, etc., coming out, it's only a matter of time before this stuff is discovered on a worldwide level.
On a major level.
Yeah.
What I've noticed though too is just from going to shows and actually been playing recently a lot more, is that there is a lot more people coming to the shows. I mean, it's not like you guys are saying we're packing the place, but I have noticed that the community is actually coming together a lot more. Like, I've seen Ariel at my shows. I've seen, we go to we all kind of get together and kind of support.
In the old
everybody.
days, the shows were a lot more packed. In the old days, there used to be a lot less shows.
Yeah. That
Okay,
might be the case.
back when I started playing, there was, I think, 3 places in all of San Diego County you could really do original music. Okay, and now there's hundreds. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've split up our audience amongst the wealth. Is what's happened to a large degree. But we can always, there's more than 1 million people in San Diego. We should be able to get 50 people at the Casbah on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
People complain about not only paying cover charge, which I have nothing to say to that, but the people will say, between the cover charge and a couple of drinks, you're spending $50 or $60, which is a lot to go out and see your friend's band. To them, to us, it's like, please come do that.
Yeah.
And I think with the cost of living in San Diego is now a big topic of discussion. It's now reached this tipping point where, I think the same thing happened when I left New York City. It's because the cost of living was so high. Not only could I couldn't afford to just live a normal life, but I found that, attendance to my shows were dropping because people just couldn't afford to go out anymore. And, the ways around that is, trying to convince bars to have specials on certain nights, or we create our own parties at alternative places besides rock bars, which is, I don't think we should abandon any of those venues, but, you and I have actually discussed, like, alternate ideas, like doing it at coffee shops or doing it at the record store or renting a warehouse and getting a food truck and all this stuff. But it gets expensive and it's very ambitious,
It is, and it's just the problem I see with that is I do get the complaint too, is it's too expensive, it's this and the other, but there's so much opportunity to see free music in town.
Yeah.
Every street fair, the
Well,
Riviera Supper
Navajo
Club,
Live
Navajo Live.
refuses to do a cover charge.
Yeah,
We
Navajo
want
Live does not
original
charge a cover
music.
ever.
Refuse.
So you
Yeah.
can see anybody at least
Hank,
once or twice
totally.
a year. So there's really no excuse. Really, from the audience viewpoint, Jason, you're absolutely correct. It's the too much to do, and they're not going to tell us like, I spent all day at the beach with my kids and I had a great time. I'm not going to go see you. They're going to say like, next time, or whatever. But there are a lot of options for people to go do stuff.
But
that said, again, and I point this out, we get hundreds of thousands of tourists every year, starved for entertainment. That's why they came here.
Yeah.
Okay? And we've got tens of thousands of military youth coming in, also starved for entertainment. So I think that we just need to get the word out a little bit better, and we need to target our approaches to things. Whether it starts with doing some free shows for the military, like, hey, come to our bar. Anybody in the military gets them free for that kind of thing. Or a million other ideas. And if anybody out there has any ideas to increase audiences, by all means.
But there's
post.
one really good thing that's going on right now. Demographically, the age group, the baby boomers of the Persian Gulf, they're all starting to have babies, and they're getting babysitters because they want to go out. So I am seeing a lot more of that age coming out. And that was a really large baby boom.
That's cyclical.
So,
that happens every few
Gen
years.
X.
There's
Yes.
always
Gen
going to be
Xers.
So they're coming out. So we got to, I say, let's focus on that demographic.
See, that's
because they
I
want to come
say
out.
focus on every demographic, but unfortunately, the older demographic isn't the one that's going to
No.
support the whole thing. We got to start with the younger guys and
Yes.
girls to bring it up and to come through the ranks, as
Well, I'm
opposed
talking
to
30-years.
But I think
And
That's
also,
too old already.
Go ahead.
maybe the younger ones, though, Bart, Ariel, Jason, Emily, Dave, maybe these most of these younger
It's not
ones
here, man.
aren't very influenced in rock and roll culture. We need to help that, and that's where an interesting segue, which I don't mean to open up this can of worms, but in my humble opinion, that's where I think Greta Van Fleet is doing some justice
Yes.
there.
Well, I got one more point on that too. You can also promote your shows too to actually help get.
Well,
people in
you
there.
know that's
actively promote it.
number
and that
one.
would-
I
that
gotta
would get-
say, a lot of bands seem to be afraid to let people know about their shows. Like they won't promote, they don't do anything. You know,
Yeah.
maybe a Facebook post. You know, and that's just not going to cut it.
We
You
hammer
know,
Facebook, and then we hammer. We
Well,
do a lot of
that's
different-
it goes beyond just posting. I spend a lot of time and care in crafting posts. It's its own
And I will
art
bother
form.
my friends with text messages.
and address
too.
it, but a lot of bands won't even make a flyer.
Yeah.
You know,
It's become a running joke, like a societal joke. You know, the hey, come see my band play. You know, I think it's gotten made fun of so much over the last few years that like being in a band and promoting your band and passing out flyers almost has a bad stigma to it. I mean, it sucks that I have to say that, but it's kind of the truth. I think.
Yeah,
I
you're right.
think being a musician and being in a band is not as en vogue as it was 30 years ago, and that's okay. We still want. We're here because we want to
Technology glorified it.
well, yeah, it's just a lot more common
Exactly.
now. It's just a lot more
Well,
common.
the access to say social media and stuff kind of eliminated the aspect of having to flyer. But what we
Right.
do, what we try to do too is we'll print up a poster and we'll post it at the venue we're playing, and then we'll launch that poster on social media, and then kind of contact.
There's a little bit of
kind of-
psychology about what we do, Jason.
Yeah.
We know that we're a gimmick band. We know that we're comedians, but
Yeah.
we enforce it with loud rock and roll.
Yeah, well,
we,
yeah.
we have a thing there that we capitalize on, and it has to do with graphics and color and where we post it.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff where I get very,
Yeah.
very concerned with.
What did I? Oh, hey, by the way, congrats on not only your full backstage coverage of the San Diego Music Awards, but also your 100th episode.
Oh,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ariel, and thank you, Bart, for opening that door for us. That was Dave's idea. Dave's like, "Hey, why don't we see if we can talk to Bart and get backstage?" So it went from him to us to you to thank you, Kevin
Kevin.
Hellman.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that, and
was a pinball
Ariel,
machine.
thank you
Yeah, it was a-
for that compliment.
Yeah, for the
Sure,
real pinball.
but yeah, whatever. What did I say to you after I saw? Because I've
I
actually
think I remember. I could actually probably pull up that text.
like if Ween and somebody else have
It
a
was,
baby.
yeah, it was.
Oh, that was so good.
It was it was so good. I gotta dig it up.
All
because
right.
It was good.
Dig it
We'll
up.
go
This is
Yeah.
this is a hard hitting.
It was funny. No, it was a pretty good example of it. I was pretty impressed
He
with it.
caught our show at Bar Pink, and Fusebox is a power trio.
I love
Now
them.
we've been a band for I guess 25 years, and it's taken many culminations. And we performed as a power trio, and Jason.
I really
does a
didn't
lot of
realize
stuff.
how
And he saw us for the first time.
comedic
It was-
you
it was-
were. Yeah, it took me this long to see you because I have been next timing a lot of my friends over the years, and I'm like, you got to stop next timing people. You got to just. get
Well,
out there.
that's actually kind of an interesting point too. That I see some bands complaining about how people don't come out to their shows, but I kind of think like, well, I haven't seen you at anybody else's shows myself,
Yeah.
and I think Tim Piles, me, and Ariel are probably amongst the people that go out the most in San Diego.
I don't. I mean, I appreciate you think I do, but I stay home a lot, when I can because I'm tired.
No, we appreciate that,
All the
but
time.
it's but I run into you all over the place, and
I'm making more of an effort.
Yes.
Or I'll go in and out of,
But
like
it's
this month I'm going to do it.
it's-
Hey, he's
it's-
consistent. Run with it.
It's a valid point though. If you want people to come out to your shows, go out to other people's shows. They will reciprocate, and you got to get out there and cross-pollinate. I see so many bands will only go to shows they're actually playing at. Okay,
so
are you kids going to share?
This is can we curse?
Yes,
this
this
is
is what
Ariel's
Ariel-
review.
Fuse box. This is my review. If Ween and Primus fucked and had a baby, but during conception they were blasting Tool, and during pregnancy they played Yes through headphones on the belly, then that baby watched a few too many B horror movies as a kid, it would grow up to be Fusebox. Just so you know, I was
Cheers.
there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to prove to them that I came to the show.
That's like the coolest compliment
That was
I've ever
awesome.
gotten
That's pretty awesome.
I was
in being a band before.
beside myself.
Quite accurate.
Yes.
Quite accurate. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was appreciated.
That's very, very funny, and I like that. I think we should maybe put that on the back of a T-shirt.
I think something, yeah.
Very,
just
very
like,
fine
yeah.
print.
That would be an excellent back
Yeah.
of T-shirt.
Yeah,
So
that's
Bart, I
fantastic.
think you had a thought.
Boy, I've had many, but I'm not quite sure what it was about at this point. But let's talk about the music awards. I mean, we can talk more about audiences and things like that, but that's an ongoing discussion, which I think has been happening since cavemen hit
Which is,
bones on.
hey,
Yeah, which is
I
a
bet it
struggle.
sounded
It's a
great.
struggle.
Yeah,
That was
the struggle.
between the three of you, hearing you guys commune. That was seriously some juicy stuff.
So, but let's dovetail a little bit into the awards that happened on Monday, which we were. Every one of us was at.
Yeah.
There was some things that happened. I'm pretty excited about, and we've provided a list.
Yes, I
Yes,
made
yes.
notes.
So let's see here. Emily was an audience member. These two gentlemen here were photographing backstage and talking to the winners.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and other people that would come up. We just kind of were grabbing people.
This-
The losers.
and,
Yeah, and the losers, right? They had to walk by them. The walk
There were winners and there were losers.
Because, well, yeah, go ahead.
And this gentleman here opened the show with a
Yes.
wonderful performance of 2 songs.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of all over the place, but it was I think
You're there?
the best ceremony so far. I think people were really into it. The crowd was big. It sold out well
It
in
sold
advance.
out?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? They do usually sell out.
Okay.
Okay, so it does
Good.
usually sell out, but this is the first time it
A
sold
week
out in
before.
advance.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
that was the thing. Usually there's still some tickets left.
Milestone.
As a matter of fact, probably could have sold hundreds more tickets.
Really?
Yeah. So there was a lot of demand.
The occupancy was there.
Yeah, absolutely,
God, yes.
absolutely.
yeah.
But I mean,
Very noisy.
I was
couldn't
it was really
move.
noisy.
It was
But
so
I would say this: the music sounded better than in past years.
Oh, good.
Okay, so it was very noisy and hard to hear the talking sometimes, but the music did stand out, and I think it was quite good.
I think I noticed a newer board backstage.
Yeah, I don't know about that stuff there, but
and just let me know when you want these laser lights off. I'll turn them
oh,
off.
I'm
if
fine with it. It's
Okay.
all good. But
Rock and roll, man.
I personally, was. I'm looking at the winners list right in front of me here. I'm looking at this going like, yeah, this is. I was pretty happy with this stuff. I mean, Best Blues, Casey Hensley.
that was smoking.
Smoking. I mean, Album of the Year, Hot Snakes, and John Reese was there.
Yeah, he
I
was
mean,
there,
That
yeah.
was awesome. Yeah, I mean, best live performance, Schizophonics. Nobody's going to argue with that.
Right.
I mean,
I was so nervous standing next to John
And
Reese
Electric
that I
Mud?
didn't even know who he was.
I did. I was just
and
nervous
the
talking.
other, Electric Mud as well. I mean,
What
that
did
is
Electric
so
Mud
cool.
win?
Those guys
They
scared
were
me.
best alternative.
No, it was
Best
Best
rock
Rock.
album.
Best
Best
rock,
rock
yeah.
album.
Best rock album.
Yeah, and these guys have a pedigree. They're related to some major rockers in there. So that was very cool. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Electric Mud is related to who? To whom?
Their aunt is Patty Hansen.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
And who's Patty Hansen?
Yeah, it was Patty.
Man, I should let you Wikipedia that one.
Look it up.
Rock and roller. That's Keith.
Google
Richard.
it.
It's Keith Richards' significant other.
That's the one that gave Hendrix the guitar. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Oh.
So there's that. Yeah. Also phenomenal. I mean, Whitney Shea.
Always,
Hardest
yeah.
working.
And I was really
Woman
happy
in
with that in
showbiz.
particular for Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
Because. She's traveling the world doing this thing, but she's an independent artist, and a lot of times people that win that are assigned to a major label or whatever, she's out there doing it herself. So that was really really cool.
She's
to see that.
also a working musician too. She does her own artist thing, but she works the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
she-
scene.
Oh, she's one of the hardest.
Yeah.
She's just amazing.
I believe I complimented her on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she did something like 300 shows last year.
Yeah,
That's
she's
like
phenomenal.
crazy.
She's at the top of that.
Yeah.
I was also really happy to see Mittens win again.
Yeah.
I love Mittens.
Mittens
Yeah.
is just wonderful. And my personal favorite, Euphoria Brass Band winning Best
That
Jazz.
was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just I thought it was really good. There was a lot of love in the room, even more so. And I saw the usual complaints before. This band should have been nominated. This guy should have been. That's common. That's
cares?
like that.
It's
And then there's
every-
also the other one was, is this person really singing? Is this really an opera singer? That kind of stuff. And it's,
The victors, the win, the awards part of this award show is the least important part of the whole night, in my opinion. Who wins, who loses, who cares?
The most important part of that night was who came and spoke to us.
it's
For you.
it's honestly.
No,
You know what?
I know what he's
I don't
saying.
want to. I don't want to close
saying-
my thought there. I want to close it on a positive note.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we are all getting together at least once a year, all of us
Yep.
in a room, and reminding each other of who we are, and
Yeah.
supporting each other, and saying hello to one another, and being there for each other, regardless of who wins and who loses. People campaign for their votes and stuff like that, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. You want to do it, But that's I mean it's a it's a great like reset button for this community.
It really is, and that also explains why there's so much
Well
talking
said,
and
Ariel.
noise in the
Everyone's
whole
Yeah,
chatting
because we're
with each
that.
other.
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
it is nice to win, but it's just as nice to just go and talk to everybody and hang out for 3 or 4 hours and see everybody and catch up on stuff. And I saw a lot of business getting done. You know, a lot of people, a lot of shows getting booked. And hey, let's talk about this. And
You told me a very nice story backstage.
which one?
I think.
I got a lot of stories.
Yeah, how the San
They're all
Diego
true-
music scene
true
started. Yeah, it was really a compelling story. It had to do with the military because the big band scene was here.
Oh no, I was talking about back to the reasons why so many people ended up in San Diego and why San Diego's become such a music mecca. And part of that is definitely during World War II. A lot of troops were being stationed to San Diego and moved through quickly. And after the war, a lot of the big band jazz guys ended up coming here. And so, I mean, we had the Everly Brothers, it's probably the best known of the musicians that was stationed here. But Scotty Moore from Elvis's band was here, and many, many of the big band players. And that's why later on, Barney Kessel and Mundell Lowe and those people ended up back in San Diego.
Wow,
So,
see that right
yeah.
there is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so
That's amazing.
That comes from that, yeah. And I mean, it's just cool to me to think that, like, in 54 or whatever, I'm sure I got the date wrong, but Scotty Moore was jamming with people down in Point Loma, in the bars there, because he
Cool.
was brought to town for that. And also the Everly Brothers would play for the troops and just whoever was around all the time when they were on station there. So they would, on the weekends, they'd play for the guys and that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of people. When I'm researching a book right now,
Probably at the waterfront.
possibly. I'm researching a book right now on a reference book on San Diego rock and roll, and gotten a lot of great stories about the Everly Brothers and their time here and how much they did. But all that comes from the military, and it continues to. I'm sure there's lots of guys right now that are stationed there right now. 20 years from now, there'll be actors and musicians and stuff we'll be hearing about. So it's a great thing. And again, an audience that we need to.
Adam Driver.
Can I just say from the audience point
Sure.
of view of the evening, when you're listening to all these different bands, CDs, going to see all the different shows and everything throughout the year, and then it's kind of like you get there and everybody's there, and you're like, oh yeah, the great music. It's not about the winning because of that, because you're getting to connect with them after listening to them and seeing them. It's kind of like another kind of awards fantasy if you were if you were to go meet Led Zeppelin, which it's another story for me.
Sure.
I certainly think it's nice to win, but I kind of think that the win comes with the nomination.
Yeah,
Pretty much. I think once
exactly.
you're on the list, it's like, okay, cool, And I'm talking from the viewpoint that I can never be nominated. So
And I don't want to make it sound like I didn't appreciate the nomination this year and the win last year. It's nice, I have a nice trinket on my shelf of trinkets.
You get a nominee badge or a necklace or a. No?
Well, it's just nice to be nominated, right?
It's an honor to be nominated. What is this anyway?
Isn't it great?
It's the Cutwater Spirits.
Oh, this was made in San Diego,
made San Diego,
California.
California.
Old Grove Gin and
Cutwater
Tonic by
Spirits.
Cutwater
Fantastic.
Spirits.
I love them.
Fantastic.
I-
Old Grove is fantastic.
I'm
Newly purchased by
fond of the highball.
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, they were Ballast. Well, they were Ballast Point Cutwater, and then they sold Ballast Point, obviously, and then now they separated to do Cutwater, and now they made some more money on top of the money they made before.
But I would like to add and agree with both of you and you as well, is that it felt great being there, and I mean, regardless of what we were doing, to see everyone that we know now, and everyone's
And people we knew. It was
humbling
a
and
great experience.
and great.
And
Yeah.
bringing the
I-
next generation up at the same time, because there were a lot of younger musicians there for the first time. So you're building. The community just keeps building.
yeah, no, it's
wonderful.
a good place to make music. I'm very happy to be here. I mean, that's to put it mildly.
Yeah, and
Speaking of making music,
Yes.
what were you gonna say?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I want to talk about Bart and his songs, because this guy writes songs like what, once a week? You got a new song every
Every
week?
5 minutes.
Daily. I write songs
every 5
constantly.
I mean,
And they
aside from
record albums in like 3 hours.
aside from my very briefly,
First of all, that's not for any reason other than I have zero patience.
That's
And
great.
so we actually, I think our record is we did 11 songs in 5 hours. We finished start to finish, backgrounds, everything. I have zero patience.
I need to be
I
in
did
that
it,
band.
I'm done. Let's go. Next song. I don't care.
Yeah.
Next thing is, and yes, I write a lot. I'm prolific. I don't sleep much, more than 2 to 4 hours a day, and usually in different breaks, like a couple hours here, a couple hours there. It's just the way I've always been, and I don't take a break. I never take a vacation. If I'm not doing this, I'm working on something else. In my break in between writing articles, I'll do flyers for somebody, or I'll write a PR sheet like that. So
Are you
when
an alien?
I just can't sleep. So usually from about, I take a break from 1 to 3 in the morning approximately, and I'll write 4 or 5 songs in that time frame. Now again, admittedly, I would say 99% of those are real crap. Because you're just having fun going like, I had a dog and I had fleas, you know, just having some fun with it. But I also got Wouldn't You Like to Be a Bear from that. So
I love it.
And that was a good song.
Well, that also exercises your brain out. So like it's like working the muscle.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
doing,
same-
yeah, exactly. It's
yeah.
doing something else beyond what I'm doing. So right now I've got over 700 songs that I haven't recorded yet. And we're about to make an album. They're going to use about 16 or 17 of them. And, you know, there'll be 702 by the end of the week. So it's just, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I don't have enough time in my life or budget to record them all.
That's the kind of answer I was expecting.
Yeah, so it's just I have this mental problem where, well, many of them actually, but I have to accomplish in my head at least X amount of something before I'm happy with it. So like if I'm doing a column for a newspaper, I won't really be happy until I've done at least 125 of them. You know, if I'm going to write PR sheets, when I get to the 100th one, okay, now I'm kind of feeling like I've actually solidified in there. So I'm always doing things in hundreds, and that's kind of why I always push myself to do more and more and more and more and more.
You know, now that we're on the refined topic of talking about you, and with, no, seriously, I care about this idea for a moment. I gave you a very underwhelming, brief little description to our audience, but our audience knows who you are. I know that you're prolific. You're a writer. Your calmness. Well, and I'm going to end it with rock and roll. Don't worry. So you support music in its entirety. You're also, I said, a talent buyer. Okay.
He's also a mentor.
He's a lead guitar player. He's a rhythm guitar player. He's a songwriter. He's a singer. Okay. Is it fair to say, because I don't know as many words as you, Bart, are you a music entrepreneur?
No, not at all. What I am is just a music lover, pure music, because I do not care one bit if I make a penny on something, if that's not my motive. If somebody wants to pay me for it, great, I appreciate that, thank you. Kind of going for that. But it does not matter to me. If the same person said to me, I can't pay you, I'm still going to do it. I would rather do something for somebody than not, period. So I don't really see it as entrepreneur because I don't give a rat's ass about the money at all.
So the word entrepreneur is...
Entrepreneur means that you're going to make a living at what you're doing. And while that is a hope of mine that I will get paid for and you know, what I deserve, I guess, is what I'm saying, that's not my motivation. My motivation is that if I see a band that I like, I'm going to walk right up to them and go like, hey, get a hold of me. I'd like to do a feature on you at some point, and like that. If I see somebody that I think like, you know what, Jeff Berkeley gets the best acoustic guitar sound. Mike Camus also very good. That's who you want to go with if you're going to do a singer-songwriter thing. If you want to do jazz, you want to try this producer. You need to do something quick like that. Call Alan Sanderson. You know, Ed Stasium's in town.
So now you're in encyclopedia mode.
Well, yeah, because I know all these people. These are all friends of mine and stuff like that. So I know everybody, and I know that I can help people out by going, hey, try this, try that, and so that's my motivation.
So more of a savant than
Or
I
enigma.
I enjoy
an entrepreneur.
helping people with music. I love it that much. And
That's great.
I mean, the reason I ended up working for Capitol Records was because of the Beatles, yes. But the honest, genuine, like real reason was because I like their clothes and they had the Capitol logos on it, and so I went and got a job there. You know.
I love the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Love
And
the building.
the pictures were on the label,
Yeah.
so I had to have those shirts. And
I
stuff.
still dream of like walking into the building for this meeting that somebody set up, and I'm gonna go up to the top thing and get, I think that, you know.
I think about that too.
I worked for them for almost a decade before I got to go up in the tower.
Yeah.
You know, I did these satellite offices. But
Does
yeah.
it look different inside as opposed to outside? Because outside is a very vintage, old-looking building.
The lobby has been redone several times. You've got the walls, the platinum albums, and stuff like that. And the last time I was up in the tower itself,
It's not condos now.
no, it's not condos. I think
Subletting.
Everything.
actually, I think that they passed a resolution that it cannot be rented out for condos.
Oh,
It's
that's
got to
all.
be kept for commerce.
Okay.
Okay, so I think they did that. And the studio's still there because I know they still do recordings in there.
What floor is the studio
The
on?
studio's in the basement.
Cool. That works out.
Yeah, so, yeah, anyway, yeah, it is kind of, last time I was there, it was an old, messy, retro-looking building inside, just stacks of stuff everywhere, and the offices were okay, but it's just an iconic building to even look at and stand in. I
Absolutely.
mean, just, you can't do it anymore. When I was a kid, you could actually just walk into the lobby and look around, and that was cool. You can't do that anymore. But as a kid, that was one of the first things I did when I went to Hollywood was walk into that lobby and look.
Wow, that is cool. Kind of almost like reminds me of the movie Airheads a little bit.
Yeah.
Not their best effort.
Well,
Oh yeah, let's cruise down this list a little bit more.
I will go ahead and make a
Let's
couple
see
of
what this
announcements
best
here.
Yeah,
Might
make
as
some
well do it.
announcements.
I've been getting a lot of people asking me when Beatles Fair is happening this year.
When is that happening?
When is
Bart?
that happening? Well, it's not until December 7th. There will actually be a Beatles Fair this year. And the reasoning is, so this will save me a lot of emails later on, is that it's going to be part of the 10-year anniversary for Queen Bee. 10-year anniversary.
They've been there 10 years already.
10 years already. And they can't really afford to do a whole bunch of events all year long. So they're going to do it as one big week at the end of the year.
Cool.
And so we'll be announcing who the performers will be soon. I will tell you that True Stories will be playing, and we'll be doing the solo Beatles years with Billy Tish on flute and horns and everything. Cool. On violin and stuff. It's really, really fun.
I like Billy.
David
Billy's a great guy.
Fleminger on guitar.
Dave Fleminger on guitar and keyboards, the man, the myth, the legend, the man whom I could not do what I do. That guy's amazing.
Can't wait till he comes back.
So that is going on. So that's December 7th. And then, of course, we've got Art Around Adams coming up June 1st. So that is a big one. And so
That's a lot of news.
We're confirming the stages right now, but I can tell you that the headliners on the... and I've never done this before because I'm actually against this sort of thing normally. But this year, the headliners on the Smitty stage, Blind Spot stage, are the Sleepwalkers, which is great, and by special request, Manual Scan.
Ooh.
Now, normally I do not because I'm kind of one of those people that thinks it's a little odd when promoters put their own bands headlining their own shows. It's a little bit
That's
much.
all I did when I had residency.
But in this case, it was
all right.
a special request, and we don't play very often. So I said, okay. And honestly, I honestly thought the other guys in the band would say no. They're like, nah, that's okay, that's okay. A free show. Because all the bands and everybody that is involved with Art Around Adams, this is yet another kind of fun thing. It's volunteer, completely volunteer.
Oh.
The bands all play for free. The people working there are all doing it for free. I'm doing it for free. So it means a lot that people want to do this. But by the same token, sometimes bands will only play if they can get paid or there's a reason or whatever. But in this case, everybody in the band said absolutely.
We
So-
did that show for free last year.
Yeah.
It was one of our better, more well-received shows we've
was an
ever done.
excellent
Yes.
show.
It was.
You guys were great.
It's great because
Yeah.
people are walking down the street, so they stop and listen.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay cover to go in some dark, dingy place. It was fantastic.
And you get those little kids who make their parents stop and listen. I remember
Yeah.
last year at
Yeah,
your
you really
show,
were good last
there
night.
was-
You guys,
every age was
The little-
right there
there were
with
like
you.
a
There
couple
were
little
some
3-year-old
kids.
girls who
they
were
were
messing with
dancing.
the pedals.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I could.
It
There's
was
no way you could
so
get mad at
cute.
that.
No,
It
you
was
can't
adorable.
stop them.
So
yeah, it's,
cute.
and it's
It's like
the best thing about Art Around Adams is the cross pollination. And I mean, you see bands that you would not like. Ugly Boogie. They please let us open the. Okay, fine, you guys can play. Oh my God, they were good. They had 200 people watching them, and they were the first band on at 11 in the morning.
Wow.
Like what? I mean, amazing bands that play there, and it's just wonderful that a band like the Sleepwalkers, who's one of the hottest bands in town, is nice enough to say, yeah, we'll play for that. And the whole thing is people keep saying you could charge money for this, you could do this and like that. No, sometimes the best things in life are free. So come out and support all these free events, not just
Wow.
Art Around Adams, but also Adams Avenue Unplugged, the Adams Avenue Street Fair, the OB Street Fair, and all these wonderful things that we have in San Diego that I think sometimes people take for granted. But these are all things that are put on that are labor of loves by a group of people just like this, including some of us on some of them, and we need to support them, just like we need to support all the little record stores and all the little mom and pops.
I think I take care of most of the record store.
I-
Even in business myself.
Yeah, myself as well, and but I'm the kind of guy that like if I need a lighter or whatever, I'll make sure I get it at Paris Newsstand or something like that because that $2 makes the difference to them, but Walmart could care less.
That's-
So I
So smart and so wise, and I hope everybody out there feels the same way. That is one of the coolest things I've ever heard on this show, and I want to
Support.
put that on loudspeaker again.
That is one of my favorite things right now that's happening in the last 3 years, the record store is popping up. I'm so happy.
We have, and this goes
Yeah.
back to that list we were talking about of all
Yeah.
the great things about San Diego. We've got more record stores than anywhere else. I mean, people in LA and San Francisco, what, really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you go to Hillcrest, it's like what, like 5, like
Yeah.
3 blocks or whatever. It's like, and they're all doing well.
They,
I mean,
started selling vinyl records at Target, and it's silly, but I think it's a big deal.
It is.
Because it's really, and I went, and they're literally 5 albums,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
the ones
Yeah.
you totally expect. Dark Side of the Moon,
Fleetwood Mac
Stevie
Rumors.
Wonder, Fleetwood Mac Rumors, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then like a Metallica album, maybe.
something, you
Yeah.
know, all like the, probably Thriller, but I don't
Last
know.
time I was there,
maybe not.
I bought one. I bought the Chronic. There, they had that going.
But if
Really?
if Target is your gateway drug to
Record stores.
spending all your money on record stores, then thank you Target, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I really think that, okay, first of all, CDs aren't going anywhere. That's still the #1 format that people get their music
I
on.
don't have a
Seriously?
single CD player.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, still.
I feel weird about that personally.
Well, it's no different than having anything tangible. It's just a matter of having something tangible.
Yeah.
You can't autograph a download.
That's true.
True.
I had a
Okay.
band hand me a 45 the other day.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm a little bit messed up in that idea. I would rather have something bigger and old school than have a CD. CDs are
45 with
just
a
they're
digital download
irritating
attached
for
to
me
it?
No.
personally.
Well,
You gotta have a
it's-
digital
it was-
download.
But ask yourself,
They just-
why is
They
it
were going
irritating?
old school.
It's just the vessel that holds music, which is no different than the vinyl that you're just applauding. It's exactly the same. The format's different. The sound on the vinyl is obviously going to be better. So that's just a personal thing. But the reality of it is that in most of the world, CD is still the champion. Streaming is far less. And the thing too is that people do buy them, but you got to be on tour. One of the mistakes I think a lot of people make is that they'll press up all these quantities, CDs, vinyl, whatever, and then they're upset that they don't sell, but you only play a show once a month and you've got 30 fans.
Who are you talking about? Who are you referring to?
Not you, not you. Actually, I could give numbers and a name, but no, not you. But
Yeah.
you got to do more than just, you can't just put them out there and go, ta-da,
Right.
something's going to happen. And that's why people forget, and I said this before and I got in trouble, but I still find it to be true. It's easy to make the music, relatively. Anybody can release a CD. You can sneeze, record it, make a CD of it. But getting somebody to listen to it, buy it, promote it, distribute it, that's a whole different ballgame. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm hoping that when CDs went away, distribution went away. And so that was the bad thing. Because now, how are you going to get your stuff in stores? How are you going to get stuff to here and there? How are people going to know about it? So I'm kind of hoping that some new things pop up.
I
in
had
that
I
same
do have
realm.
a suggestion there, and I think this is maybe the way of the future. What if music was sold on thumb drive, and thumb drives are this big, and that would be a colorful with a little Ariel Levine insignia, and like here you go, it
People
fits
do
in your
that.
pocket.
People do
but what
that.
if that was the norm?
It wouldn't be. Okay. First of all, that's been happening for over a decade. That already did not work.
I
The
like
fir-
that though.
The first person I saw with that is Ringo did that. He sold
Ringo?
Ringo did a bunch of stuff like that.
I like Ringo a lot more now.
Spitfire Torpedo.
Peace and love.
Local band Spitfire Torpedo had a rocket-shaped.
That's cool.
That is cool as a promotional thing. But
Best Indie Alternative Act, Aviator Stash, sells their album in a little prescription pill bottle.
yeah,
Really?
With
all
the-
those
with
guys.
the-
Oh,
with the
right.
USB.
See, that's
But
cool.
those are gimmicks. Those
Yes,
are
you gotta
gimmicks.
do
Those
that.
work on
Yeah.
me, for better or for worse,
Yes,
Bart.
but as
And I'm a consumer.
yes, as has happened though, the smaller you make it and the less consequential you make it, the less important it is to the people that listen to it. And you are a music maker. You're an older gentleman. An 18 or 19-year-old, it's just a file on a thing. So they don't care. If you put it on a CD, or if you put it on vinyl, if you put it on something permanent, it is felt as permanent by the listener. If you just do it on a thumb drive, it's no big deal. And that's what a lot of bands have found over the years. It's just tracks on. It's just air.
Is that because I could take a CD, you could put any CD in my hand right now, and is this come from an idea that if I walk outside and I go across the street to Corey Steyer's house, or if I go to my neighbor, the chances are they might have a CD player. Is that because?
No,
No?
It's the same thing. Do you have a record player?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people. And I hear this a lot. A lot of people will give out vinyl, but the people they're giving it to don't have a record player. So, and people don't want to say like, oh, I'm not going to take it because people just take it.
People have bought my record that said they don't have a record
Yes.
player, but
So
But they're
it's,
still
you see
valid.
what
put
I'm
it on the
saying?
shelf.
That's an interesting thing by itself, though.
But see, but that's also, once again, people want something tangible. Your record is a piece of art. And I would imagine you've signed a few of them.
Sure.
Okay, and that's what it's about. The music almost becomes secondary to the fact that it's artwork.
Right.
Okay, and the
There's
music
also
is
a download
Well,
card
growing
inside.
up,
and the
That's-
music is
reading
part.
the
music is
album
part
was
of that.
great.
Now with the CD and stuff in particular, I think
That's how I roll.
I think it's important
That's how I
that
roll.
there's a permanence to it,
Vinyl
okay?
with the
Because
download.
the websites online, for example, I've written articles, and I'm putting together a book featuring many of my articles over the decades. And the reason I'm doing that is because you can no longer find those articles online anymore.
Wow.
Okay, the companies have gone out of business. The newspapers have folded. New editorial came in. They redid the pages. Those articles are all gone, and that's what's going to happen to music, books, etc., that are only digital. Okay, there needs to be some permanence to it. Then it will always exist, even if it's because you just did a Library of Congress catalog card. If you just do digital, eventually it's going to disappear, and it doesn't matter what level you are at. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite websites for years was Cornflakes and Tea, which was the Elton John website. One of the most beautifully illustrated, every detail on his life, every record, every whatever. And one day it's just gone.
Wow.
All that information, everything that was in there, it's just gone.
Do you remember BowieNet?
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. And all of these things, keep in mind, right now, you're thinking about things in a be here now moment, okay? I'm thinking of things in a 500 years from now moment. If there is no permanence in it, how many old DATs do you have that you don't even have a player for it? I mean, maybe you do have a player.
I had to buy one.
Okay, exactly.
I had
you know.
to buy an ADAT
Okay,
recently to
like
get
that.
the
And
stuff.
you know what? In 150 years, you're not going to be able to buy one. You're going to have to build one yourself
Yeah.
or come up with a machine to do that. And it's that kind of thing. So I think things like vinyl and CD, permanence, are very, very important. Why not cassette? Because cassettes melt and
And
they
they deteriorate.
deteriorate very quickly. CDs and vinyl will be around forever. Those things are very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why I said I'm putting those books together, because not only is stuff already disappearing from the internet, information that we could actually use, but in the future it's going to be far, far worse. Okay, right now we're
There's
in
some
the,
things on the internet that I would like to see disappear.
yeah, me too. I think we all could do that. But yeah, we're all looking at this on the next 10, 15, 20 years, our lifetime. And I'm kind of thinking way beyond that. I'm thinking 1,000 years from now, you know. I remember, this is what got me thinking about that.
So maybe like in 1,000 years from now, like maybe by then, like I'll be able to like afford to like I don't know, like pay my rent or something.
If you sell one a month by then, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, can I stop you right there?
Wait for the-
What?
You said something on Monday night
I did?
on our interview
No.
where that got me thinking. And I'm a part. We have a distribution account through DistroKid, and we sell our song for. It's a 6-minute song. It has a 3-minute guitar solo. We sell
Of course it
that.
does.
It's our single. That's what we push to represent our band. We sell it for $1.29. Guess how much we net every time it sells?
Through what?
DistroKid.
Okay.
DistroKid.com, everybody.
And
That means the fact that he did it that way means it sold for a good amount. So, how much do you get?
All of it.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
how many do you sell? If you
That's
go-
the other
You wanna
funny
go
question
through?
is
You wanna
that
go through? Yeah.
the song has, honestly, he asked a question, I'm going to answer it. The single has been out floating in the ether for, what, 3-4 months?
Something like that. Yeah. Like
We've
5 or 6
gotten
months.
22 sales.
That's great. That's really good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Download.
I mean,
that's
So
double platinum these
distro-
days.
Right now.
that's
right?
double platinum
Yeah.
these days. I'd kill for 22 sales. That's great.
You know, but keep in mind though, the value can be.
But I also spent $30 on the, it's called the Legacy. They say this was kind of neat about this DistroKid. You have a menu, and it has these campaign circuits on, like releasing a single or releasing an album. And I released a single, and then after you choose, they open up this other menu, and it's like, do you want to do it like this? Do you want to sell it here? All these
Multiple
platforms.
Does it go? It goes to
So-
iTunes,
so-
Spotify, and all
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all of it.
Tidal.
And YouTube, yes, all
Tidal.
everything out there it goes to. At the bottom of the list, it said for $29.99, do you want to pay the legacy cost? And I'm like, what is that? So I read the description. It says, this digital song will outlive you, and it'll just be there for as long as our technology allows it.
Yeah,
As long as
and that's
batteries
that's
and machines don't take over, or even if they do.
It's
they
buying a
still take over.
plot. That's
Yes,
what
but-
that is.
Yeah, it's just pretty much.
That's what I
for
thought.
30
Yeah,
bucks.
it's buying
Did
a
you do it?
plot.
We did.
That's what so that song of ours, Black Cheese, Wink Wink by Fusebox.
what was that name again?
Fusebox.
Fusebox. Okay, with an
Yeah.
F. Okay, that's good to know.
And so I did that for us because I thought that mattered.
You know, it does, and it can, and it might. You know,
But we are working on the vinyl,
It-
so the full full
That's
EP.
another
but
story.
That's
Well, I
to
wanted
drop
to
it down,
say
though.
those things to these gentlemen
And I'll put it this
because
way.
I'm proud of DistroKid.
Yeah.
Ariel Levine's album, which by the way everybody should have, it is
I do.
very,
It's-
very good.
Got
it's
one
of the
back there. I
best
got my
I've
green
heard in a
copy.
long
It's
time.
one of my
Yes.
favorite albums in the last few years.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Regardless of what it sells right now, notice I didn't say irregardless. Regardless of what it sells right now, the thought is that it's going to have a very, very long shelf life.
hope so.
Nobody's too concerned that Elvis Presley's album came out in '56. Nobody cares.
Right.
It's just a good rock and roll album.
Sure.
And I think that music will stand that test of time if it's given the opportunity.
Yes.
And that means making a physical copy because digital will eventually fade away into something else.
Yeah, and-
now, legacy, like you said, as long as the technology is there. Okay.
That's the quote.
That's the quote. And there will always be books and there will always be LPs.
Yeah.
But there may not always be an internet the way you know it.
Correct.
Okay, and that is
Final.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wink Wink immediately.
That's
Now
what
the
we're
other,
working on.
the other thing with CDs is that I honestly think, and this is just me, but people that don't have their music backed up on CDs and things like that are asking for trouble at some point because all you need is an electric pulse and you're going to lose your flash drives. All you need is all that kind of stuff can go.
You got all that?
Yeah, so when we do for Quasi, we do the vinyl and we print CDs. We don't do the
What about the backup drive though?
we've got it all backed up.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Everything's
I
backed up.
really
plus
think
we
that
have it.
you should have
That's out of my department.
everything,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
burned to CD for files, and you can you.
We have,
minutes
the
per, and so
master backups. We have that, but plus we have when we make vinyl, we also do a run of CDs.
Yeah, the
because I
key-
use those as frisbees for when we play.
All I
Well,
need-
Yeah.
well, the CDs when you make the vinyl, the CDs is what you give to the DJs and the writers and the press people, and you can have a few there at the booth if anybody wants. It makes it look like you have another item, which you do, you know. But vinyl is certainly the way to go. But again, it's harder to sell. It's very
Yeah.
expensive to
Well,
make.
that's why- well, you do a limited run. Usually we will do like 100 or 200, depending on what
But
we
not
plan on.
everybody wants to ritualize their musical experience.
Yeah, but it's also good because then we get them in the record stores.
It's a thing
It's
now.
a thing.
I'm a huge
And plus
advocate of it.
We sell a few of them.
You got 100 people in a room though that bought our album though. And how many of them have a record player? Hopefully half.
Well, that's
of
why
them.
you add the digital copy, like
Yeah, you do the download cards.
Ariel did
Download
that as well.
cards.
Yeah, you sign it, you
Download
sign
cards
it.
I like
inside,
that,
so
yeah.
you buy the album. I was every time, Manganista does a show, we'll say, buy the record. If you don't own a record player, get one. If you don't have one, you've got a digital download card, and you get the great artwork.
Right.
You get the liner notes. You get all the photography.
Turned it into
all
a
the
clock.
art.
If
Yeah,
I
it's-
buy somebody's vinyl record at their show, I will listen to it the next day once
Yeah,
on
and then-
vinyl,
and then
and then
download.
I'll put it on my shelf and
Right.
may or may not ever play the record again because I also have it on digital,
Yeah.
which is more convenient and easier, and it's on my iPod and it goes with me in my car and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I will say I am lucky enough that
I just put myself to sleep.
No, but it's. I
was
mean,
good.
it is true.
Very
though.
good.
I mean,
well,
it
I'm
is
just
true.
I'm fortunate in
enjoying
that I have
yourself?
I'm
not
cracking up. These
had to
guys.
pay for my own.
How's your bum?
Yeah.
Fine.
So I've got a little bit of a different experience on this. Somebody else is paying for my crap, but
Yeah.
it's tough. Nothing really moves much beyond 500, 1,000 copies if you're lucky. And I know in England, I'm paraphrasing numbers here, but I believe you can hit number one with like less than 8,000 sold. It's got to be the right week, and you got to sell more or less than the other person like that. But I'm looking at was it Paul McCartney's album did like 100,000 the first week. That's something that would have done 1 million, before, and
Yeah.
and then the following week was like 28,000. So sales are really, really,
They're just bad.
it's just bad. Yeah,
Music is no longer the forefront of people's. It's not.
It's
It's not
background.
the societal norm that it used to be. It's a niche now.
Well,
What's
it used
too
to
common?
be part of our schools. It used to, and thank goodness the San Diego Music Awards.
Well, no, I all of that. You're right to a degree, But
bringing
I
it
liked
back,
how you were tying it back into the San Diego Music Awards.
bringing
Just
guitars
bring
into
this- yeah, that's
schools.
what
It
I-
will bring
I
our
should be-
society back to enjoying and nourishing the music.
No, I personally think that ship particularly sailed. I think it's never going to go back to what we consider the heyday, because it's just gotten too diverse, too big to manage anymore.
But
And the other
kids
thing
having
too,
music programs.
but kids, and this is the thing too, is that most schools actually do have a music program,
No, they don't.
even if it is from the Guitars in the Workshop Plus, and that is a music program. And you've got
Thank
tons
you,
of
San
schools.
Diego Music Awards.
You've also got places like Mendoza School, plug, in Imperial Beach that has a music program. You've got.
Is that your school?
Well, it's not my personal school. It's my grandfather's name. That's my
Oh.
grandfather. The Mission Bay High School. There's all kinds of music
I'm not
programs.
just talking about San Diego. I'm talking.
Oh no!
In
Okay.
general, our
Yes,
society
absolutely.
has.
We need more arts and music. But
Yes.
San Diego seems to be doing okay. I would like to see more programs like the jazz stuff going on for other genres. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I just spoke to Victoria Robertson, the opera singer, a few days ago, and they're going to be doing some new programs as well that hopefully will bring some youth into opera. I mean, not
Wow.
particularly my thing, but I think that's
Wonderful.
wonderful.
I think
Yes.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
So things like that would be great, and I'd love to see that with more. But I think a lot of it is simply with the sales is simply that there's so much out there, and I'm going to make a statement that some people don't like, but there are more people now making music than want to listen to it. Okay, number one, and
That's an important statement.
that is it. Yeah, it's just there's a reason why the industry term for self-released music is landfill. That's the industry term for it.
Oh wow.
Okay, because most people that press up 100 500 CDs aren't going to sell 30 of them, and so that's the grim reality of it. But we keep trying because we do art and this is what we do.
But that also is-
Hoarding our own product.
But that's also why the digital space is kind of switched over. So like printing that stuff out, most of the people if they're gonna get their music is gonna be through digital.
Well,
I mean, for the most
look,
part,
the
if
way-
you're gonna sell anything.
The way I see it is this: music has been now split up into a couple of departments, and it's a lot like the U.S. Postal Service. Okay, the average person mailing a letter couldn't care less how it gets there. Here's your 49 cents or whatever the stamp is now, just put it in whatever. But there are enough people that got to get the right perforation and the right label just on the side that they have a separate department that sells to collectors. Okay, and that's basically what music has become. It's the masses, which is 99.9% of it, and then there's the rest of us, which make art. It's just that's just what it's become. I'm not saying that some of that music doesn't have artistic value, because it does.
Yeah.
I saw the Matson 2 perform
you-
their rendition
you
of
did
Love
that?
Supreme live.
I just got that.
I bought
Once.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got that
They are
today.
so,
Yeah.
Mats and 2 are so great.
Amazing.
That's
Best
crazy.
country or Americana, Blind Mountain Hauler.
Yeah.
For me personally, the singer-songwriter of the year, Evan Diamond.
Admittedly, never heard of her until
Oh,
that
my
night.
goodness.
That's funny.
That's great because now I'm gonna
That's-
check her
that's-
stuff out.
check-
I
Her
had a
CD
couple-
lives in my
Against-
car.
I had a
listen to
couple
her.
of texts about that. Who is this? How did she win? And I said,
Best pop album.
And I had her
May.
playing at
Yes,
Humphreys last
I
night.
agree.
She did
You know,
very
To
well.
her variety.
do.
But let's talk
Yeah.
about
I do too.
the big item, which was Java Joe Flamini
Oh, yeah.
getting
Yes.
Yeah,
Lifetime
the
Achievement
Lifetime
Award.
Achievement.
That was first of all, extremely well deserved.
Yes.
I will say
Absolutely.
we're disappointed Gregory Page was not able to make it.
Good
He
man.
had to cancel due to health issues. But the song that I was told was just written that day, a tribute song that Jason Mraz, Veronica May, Jeff Berkeley, Toco Rivera, and Billy Galewood
Yes.
sang on stage, which was kind of like a musical roast of Java Joe, if you will. It was genius. It was
It's
one of the
very
best things I've
funny.
ever seen them do at the award show.
See, that's the stuff that we
Something
miss.
is-
And I will say the other thing too
You were
that
working.
that really got me was Joe. I've known Joe a long time, and he's a good guy, but I've never seen him get emotional like he did
For
when
Mama Java.
for Mama Java, because he
Wow.
dedicated the award to his mother,
Yeah.
and his voice was breaking up, and it was a really touching moment. I
It
thought
really was.
that was really a wonderful thing he did, But it was great to see the love that he got, and I mean, wow! It was also the Steve Pulse video thing that message he
Yes.
sent. It was great, really funny.
We need a monitor.
What's that? I know we
Just
need a
yeah,
monitor
you
back
guys,
there.
you guys missed good
Yeah.
stuff. However, you guys were near the gumbo.
I did have the gumbo.
The gumbo was good.
That was spiced.
That was really spicy.
That's
that was
when
good.
you were telling me that story.
I had it
nice.
upstairs. It was
Very, very good.
It was
So
good.
yeah, the award show I thought was really great. Now, of course, we got to figure out who's going to get the Lifetime Achievement Award next year. Yeep.
How does that feel, Bart, to be on a panel like that? You know, it's like you and 7 other people on the SD. What is it called? The SDMA panel.
Council of Elders.
The Council of Elders.
The Hall of Justice.
Yeah.
I like that too. So the Hall of Justice. What's it like being in the Hall of Justice, Bart?
You know, it is. Personally, I love it. I do a couple of things. One of which is, I round up lists of every album that's come out for the past year. And
That's kind of hard to do, maybe.
yeah, but I love that kind of stuff.
You love
Man,
that.
You want
He
Bart
doesn't
to
sleep. He's got 2 hours.
He's a
gotta do
detective.
something.
No, he's a detective.
You know what my favorite thing to do is? I mean, just for fun, this is what I do, is I delve into large discographies. I don't even care if I like the artist. I'm just like, oh, he's got 700 albums out. Okay, let me take a look. Oh, okay, this is what I consider to be fun. So I do listen to every single album that is submitted. You know, it may
As
not
you
be all the
should.
way through.
That's the responsibility.
responsibility.
The fact that you love doing that is a true perk. Well, it's a plus.
It's a plus.
Well, that's why they like
You know, I
seeing everybody.
Yeah.
being involved, I like it. It's just a great thing, you know. And I would like to feel like I'm helping the community a little bit through doing some of this stuff, and hopefully people appreciate some of these things that,
Well, it's very thorough of you.
in particular. Well, you know, I mean, Kevin Hellman runs a very tight ship on this thing, and he's very, very good at what he does. You know, this none of this would be happening without him.
Sorry.
You know,
Agreed. Absolutely.
It's like we're at Ralph's. Somebody's opening the.
Price check.
So,
Aisle
so
7.
yeah.
I clean up on aisle
Box
2.
of turds.
So anyway, yeah.
Just a musician.
You know, honestly, I'm just grateful to be involved in all this stuff. I consider myself to be blessed to not only be part of the San Diego music scene, but to just be in San Diego in general. I mean, on my worst day, I can look up and go, man, I'm here. You know.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
I've had some not good days recently, so.
The glass is half full.
We
Mr.
haven't had a
Mendoza's.
good day
No,
recently.
it's not the glass
Something.
is half full or half empty. I'm just happy to have a glass.
Ah, well, that's his optimism is optimistic.
There you go.
You know, Ariel. What?
I have a question.
Yeah, Dave.
Bryce Giuliani actually had a really good
Yeah,
question.
you gotta feel. I don't even want it.
When is metal going to be recognized by the
That's
San Diego
that's
music?
a lot of people ask us that.
Metal?
You know,
Metal, like
Metal.
metal band, like
Metal.
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 I can
Metal.
weigh.
Okay.
I would like to weigh in on this,
Metal.
but please, what you got on
The
that?
new wave can't defile the metal. Wait
Yes.
a minute.
Well,
Mike was
for-
about to turn the attention toward me.
for right now, metal goes into hard rock. Okay, metal is part of the
It was
hard
rock.
thing.
You know that pisses off metal bands when they get nominated.
Yes.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The same reason Jethro Tull was, the whole thing at the Grammys
Yes.
a few years back. However, we do take a look at the categories every year. Okay. The problem is that we can only have so many categories because we only have so much time. Like it's got to be within a time frame.
May I jump in right there?
Sure.
So, do we know and understand? Because this is scientific evidence
Okay.
at this juncture. Metal fans
Mm-hmm.
spend the most money on gear, albums, vinyl, whatever's on the
Drinks.
damn
Yeah, it's a
merch
very
table,
large
Drinks
community.
and alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
if
yeah,
that's
yeah.
considered,
I don't.
and then
I don't think there's a problem with
well,
alcohol.
there's
sales at
1,000
music
people.
awards.
There's
Heavy
those under
metal-
1,000 tickets though.
No,
Yeah.
in
Well,
general. Yeah.
Like I said, well, first of all, it does sell out every year, so that really wouldn't affect it much. As I recall, and maybe I'm just paraphrasing here, but yeah, it sold a lot of alcohol at these things, so I don't think that's really an issue. I think that the real issue is, and again, we have not looked at this,
I came with my own.
but yeah, like
We're gonna get there, Ariel.
are there with a category? It's, and I'm not just going to talk metal, but like, are there enough performers of quality in town releasing albums, not just like that, to fill a category beyond? In other words, not just 6 spaces to fill it.
I
But are
would
there enough-
personally
I
like
would
to
say
Bart.
yes.
I would personally like to Bart Mendoza that. So if I was empowered with, hey, go to town, find us the goods,
Well,
I'll take that responsibility.
You know what? I will take you up on that next year. Because we don't want to miss anybody, for one thing. We want to include everybody. There is, like I said, a time limit for how many awards we can have because we have X amount of time that we can actually be doing this. Okay.
Which
So-
executed fantastically.
yeah,
by the way.
it was on the minute. It ran smoothly, smooth as silk. So that's basically 24 categories, and it becomes this: if we do that award, which other one do we get rid of? Who do we get rid
Is
of?
it really like that?
Yeah, because you can only have so many awards. You only have
Just
so much
think
time.
about it, you'll have 2 categories: best performance and best album.
Why don't
too.
you give the metal guys like the technical Oscars? You know,
That's what I was.
Well,
I was thinking about.
There,
too, as
there
far
has
as-
been talk.
Yeah.
There has been talk, and it's purely talk at this point, that maybe there will be a mid-year smaller event to promote other things, and possibly there'll be some further awards that possibly.
Summer Nam.
But what I can say is that every year, before well before it comes in, we get together and we do look at categories and also who is in the academy. That's what we're looking at, the academy. Who votes in the academy? Because that's really important. Some people drop out, some people don't want to do it anymore, other people want to be involved. So there's that. I mean, there's also a case to be made for, we were talking about this earlier, R&B bands versus jazz bands. Okay?
A little bit
Kinda
of overlap
slam
there.
in the
A little bit overlap
It's the
there.
same.
Yeah.
You know what I like to say about that?
Americana-
It's the drum beat.
Yeah. Americana.
That's all it ever is going to be there.
And it becomes like in jazz, Euphoria Brass Band is completely different than Joshua White.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at things, and it's all how people. And I was just saying that I heard from some people, and they were complaining about how do I put this politically correctly? But anyway, they were talking to me about how some blues artists they didn't consider blues, and one of the artists that they didn't consider to be a blues artist was Stevie Ray Vaughan, because he doesn't play John Lee Hooker acoustic guitar stuff, which is what they consider real blues. But most of the planet would consider Stevie Ray Vaughan a blues player.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
how do you separate that out to make both sides happy? So there's a lot of that going on. But I will say that every year we do look at the categories and who's voting, and it is adjusted accordingly. There used to be other categories that people don't remember that don't exist anymore for these very reasons. There used to be a best compilation album category. There used to be a best big band category.
I remember
And
best cover band category.
there used to be a best cover band category. Yes.
Best music instructor category?
I want punk and,
That's
I
for
know.
the technical
I want
words.
punk and alternative.
For the technical words.
Well, there's
But
indie
no,
alternative.
The other
I
thing
mean,
too,
alternative.
the other thing
It's
too
gotta
is
be
keep in
separate.
mind how much
Which
do you
new
want to
wave falls into
dilute
that
everything
category.
out.
Exactly.
are
You
you
gotta
gonna
keep
have-
it about music.
Seriously, after a while, it'll be like, we got a category for people wearing panda suits. Okay,
Yeah.
we got a category for, and it's like, so you got to, but all of this
Right.
is taken into account, and we do actually want to hear about this. I mean, please be nice about it, but yeah, we do
Yes.
want to hear about it, and keeping in mind that some of the complaints come down to jealousy.
And you can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody,
Regardless,
and
there's
that's-
only so
Well,
many items on the menu.
In defense of metal, because metal's got so many subgenres,
Yes.
to put cattle decapitation in a hard rock category, that I just would not allow that.
Yes, but then you have the problem of where does cattle decapitation go? Singer-songwriter?
They're in the variety of death metal.
Yes, but it's still metal, and the word metal is still attached. And
That's
still,
why
and
I
see, like I said, unfortunately, you got to umbrella some of these things a little bit. And I do see your point. Cattle
San Diego
decapitation.
Metal Awards, you're hosting it, and then we'll just do it. That's
And
what you
there's
start
also
Oh, yeah.
the thing that of
There
course
can be your
you can always-
summer.
exactly.
There you go.
Theory Thursday's Metal Awards. There you go. Solved. Thank you,
Solved.
Jason. That's taken care of.
spitballing here.
I guess I'll need your help, Bryce.
Yeah.
You're going to be my co-anchor on that, Bubba.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I'm
no.
glad we
Destroy the
weighed in
metal.
on that. It's important.
No, it is really, really important. And like I said, things change constantly, and we try to move with it. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not as fast as some other people would like. But let's face it, 40 years ago there was no hip hop category. There is now. Things change.
I was really stoked on Parker Meridian winning.
I was,
Yeah.
like I said, yeah.
Parker and Nathan Hubbard.
Oh, Nathan's great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not Parker, but that was the name of the band. But
Yeah.
but the two other gentlemen in that band were very nice to us and
Everybody
very,
was
very
really nice. Like,
affectionate.
that was the thing that I really took away from it. Like, everybody was super nice, super cool, and
The best
Yeah.
email I got on the whole thing was somebody wrote me and said, correct me if I'm wrong, is it my imagination, but is the music scene right now better and happier than it's ever been? She goes, I've been going to clubs in San Diego since the 70s. He goes, and I'm just noticing that everybody is just like into it together. And I went, yep, and you're absolutely right. It is very much happening right now.
Well,
for the most part,
speaking of being happy,
Uh-huh. I'm miserable, but that's...
let's,
We were all happy to see Ariel.
that's
that
our
night.
segue.
Yeah, segue to Ariel. So Ariel, what's going on with you these days? I mean, you going to be touring? You got
Oh wow, we've been sitting here for like an hour and 15 minutes.
I know.
Super gotta pee.
Do you really?
Yeah. Bart, can you like riff for like 2 more minutes?
I can.
Do it.
Should I take
Ariel,
this mic with me, like
would
Naked
you
Gun
please,
style?
Would you please bring me back a beer and then whatever you want in the fridge?
I will bring you back a beer. Would anybody else
good.
like anything?
No, I'm good.
Do you like it when I hold my mic like this? Does this give you pleasure?
We want to see not like right in your mouth.
Yeah.
That
So
was fun.
riffing about something. What shall we riff about?
Wow. Well, I think you had
Proof is live.
you that was a
You're good.
that was a I wouldn't say a sensitive topic, but that was really fun to talk
Well,
about that
and-
with you because that seemed like a very personal conversation.
It's-
Obviously, we're live, but I actually have always wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I've seen this with other award shows where people, like we were talking about the Jethro Tull moment, the hard rock thing where they won and the metal crowd was not pleased with that. So, I mean, I'm very, very aware of that. But like I said, things change, and we will be taking a look at the categories and the voting academy again sometime next year.
What category do you look forward to, like maybe the most? I mean, I guess that's a fair question.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Lifetime
Yeah,
achievement.
by
Award.
far. Usually, not this year because this was pretty much taken care of in advance, but usually I have a lot to do with everything from writing the speech that's going to be, the video
So
thing,
thoughtful.
presentational, and all that kind of stuff. I write all those things like,
I fantasize about doing that.
oh, it's fun. I mean, the funnest one I did like that was I wrote the proclamation for the city for Pete Best Day. I wrote that.
Wow.
So that was kinda
That
cool,
must have
little-
been, and then obviously the Wayne Riker one.
Yeah, I wrote the Wayne Riker one. Yeah,
Very
so,
touching.
So all that kind of stuff. So that's what I look forward to the most, and I really think that there's so many great musicians that have come through San Diego that have not been celebrated properly, and so it's just great too. That's why I do the obituaries too. It's not that I'm.
You do the obituaries, the musical,
I
the
do-
musician obituaries.
I do the in memoriam at the Music Awards every year. I put that list together.
Wow.
And I also do all
So
the,
we missed that too.
Missed that.
I do the
I didn't see
what they
that.
call the obituaries on
The obituaries.
on
Holy
on
crap.
Facebook, where I put together all the not local, but worldwide musicians that pass away as
Yeah.
it happens.
I-
And some people have said like, well, that's kind of morbid, and I don't see it that way at all. I see it as I am
celebration.
celebrating
Yeah.
these people's lives, and a lot of people wouldn't know who they even were, what they did, or whatever
And
until.
quite honestly, they passed away and you're announcing it, they forgot about them, they'll go and buy their album.
or listen to it or whatever.
Listen
yeah.
to it or whatever,
So
because
just
you
celebrating
reminded them.
some people that
Yeah.
I think deserve it, and so that's what it's about. So anyway, back to the original tangent. Lifetime Achievement Award is definitely my favorite, and then beyond that, I just like the performances at the event. That's to me that's a lot of fun. Seeing people getting to play the big stage and
Ariel was pretty god darn good.
Ariel,
right,
I
right
was
out,
only, I
right
only
out of
was
the
able to
gate.
catch the sound check, and then I peeked out there a little
Right.
bit, and then I went
let's
back
talk
in.
about him while he's not here.
Well,
Let's,
yeah.
let's
yeah,
wait.
yeah.
I don't. This is the just to get us just a little bit back on
He's
track.
back.
No,
That was
no,
the
no,
most pee I've ever peed. Wow.
Oh, here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I just cracked the new
Now,
one.
now shut up and sit down.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So
and
we're talking
play
about
guitar.
Ariel Levine.
Yeah, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Well,
Is that the first time on Thursday history that somebody left in the middle of the broadcast?
No, Mr. Host
Birthday
here,
boy has
the
done it before.
the host decided to take off one time. Yeah.
That, by the way, if you guys, if Halloween lands on a Thursday this year, can you please dress like Wayne and Garth?
Oh, yeah.
You did that though. That's your thing.
Yeah.
It's everybody's thing.
Yeah.
I suppose you're right.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
did
yes,
dress.
yes,
I
we
did
will.
dress like Mike one Halloween, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was good.
He was walking around like this all night.
Yeah, I was doing that, and also had a guitar and
Is that his face?
shorts. It's
It's one of my.
face.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, he does a thing like. You know.
well,
Yeah.
so did you want to talk about your break or any of that stuff?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, I
So-
wasn't. I didn't. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. So Ariel, who is one of my favorite musicians in town and a good guy, and you've known him for a while,
Thank you. Had a public meltdown.
Had a public meltdown. Yes, no, but
No.
All joking aside, he is considering taking a short break from music. And,
I am.
And why is that? Tell us.
A combination of how things are going within my career, how I feel about it, and also a couple of rather large shifts in my personal life are kind of forcing me to step back for a second and think on what I'm doing. That's the short version of the answer.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
You know, there's no way in hell that I can ever just sell every piece of musical equipment I own and never look back. I'll die. But I have to figure out under which context I want to continue to pursue music, whether it be, again, on the lower scale, a hobby, or whether I want to rethink and retool the way I present myself as an artist, as a songwriter, etc.
Okay. Now, is one of the things that is affecting this thought the cost of everything?
That's no doubt part of it. Yes.
Okay, yeah. People, just real quickly out there. I mean, people don't realize. I got into an argument, I think, in Record Collector magazine, talking about how they were complaining that artists should not make so much money because CDs cost 30 cents in a bundle, 19 cents, so you're making $14.99,
Right.
and you're forgetting about the recording cost, the gas money, the tape you had to buy, all that kind of stuff that
Yeah.
goes into it.
Instruments.
There's
Yeah.
thousands of dollars that cost to do something, and so even if you're just playing the Casbah for $50 on a Tuesday night, you might be out $200 for the whole band to get there and do the gig.
Yeah, I mean, a cost is definitely a factor, but not the leading factor.
Right, yeah, yeah.
This has always cost me all
Yeah.
the money I have,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm pretty used to that by now. No, it's just I think the main, honestly, the if I can pinpoint the reason in one spot is I'm tired. You're an inspiration because you're go, but I've been going for however many years, and in my eyes, I haven't reached a level of, and I use this word very, vaguely, success to where I feel like my hard work has paid off. I basically need a vacation.
Okay. Now, I will say that I appreciate what you said about me with the go thing. However, I'm sure if you talk to several ex-girlfriends over the years, they would tell you that the exact same thing has happened to me over the years, where you kind of go like, why am I doing this? Why
Right.
am I getting out of bed to go write another song? To go, what the hell am I
Yeah.
thinking? Blah, blah, blah. There was 7 people at the gig last week,
Right.
and 3 of them were wondering why they walked in. Okay, so
Right.
yeah, believe me.
And I'm not worried about my record sales and attendance. I mean, yes, of course I
Yeah,
am.
I mean,
but
you put out a record because you want to sell records. You play shows because you want people to come to shows, but that's not
Right.
your priority.
Of course.
Okay.
If they don't come, it's disappointing, obviously.
Yes.
Yes. That goes without saying.
Yes.
But the other thing is that I'm alone. And I used to have a band in New York. We were a band. I am a solo artist now, and I'm realizing how difficult being a solo artist is because all the responsibility of doing everything lies on me.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily have the skills, the energy, and the talent to execute all the things outside of the music creation. Now, I proposed to my band earlier this year. I said, band, we need to have a regular rehearsal schedule, which we've never had. We just rehearse before show.
I'm in that boat.
And not only will that make us better live, but it will, what I'm hoping it does, it will inspire us all to keep this band in our frontal lobes. Because if we meet each other enough time, and by the way, I was proposing...
Meaning priority?
Yeah, like make this band a priority in our lives. That way, I'll be inspired to get up in the morning and do an hour of business.
Because you got 4 guys
Yeah.
that love you and they're supporting the situation.
Yeah, or I'll be inspired to go print flyers and put them up in record stores. All the things that you sat down with me a few months ago. You gave me a great list of suggestions. I was like gung-ho about it for a few days. I got, but after a few emails that don't get responded to, that get responded to, but negatively,
Yeah.
You go, all right, so next on the list, we got print flyers and put them up in record stores. Do I have to? What's the difference if I don't do that at this
You're the
point?
win. You're tacked.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up the story with my band, and I told them all this personally, that they were all said yes. We tried to indoctrinate this new rigid schedule, and it fell apart faster than it could get together. And I don't blame anybody in the band. They all have their lives. I support them in everything they do. I harbor no resentment. I love all of them dearly, and I will continue to love them. But I realized, the reason I did this is because I'm alone. I don't want to be alone. I'm still alone. Okay. So I need, and as I said to them, and I'll say to you now, I might wake up April 1st and be like, that was the dumbest fucking thing I did. you guys want to get together and jam, you know.
Okay, I'll tell you, everything that you're talking about, no offense, is pretty textbook. I mean,
Sure it is.
all the stuff that you're talking about is stuff I deal with like on a daily basis, down to and including the fact that, and I'll just put this out there, Manuel Scan was supposed to set up a continual, like, regular rehearsal schedule, blah, blah, blah. That was a year and a half ago. There hasn't been a rehearsal since. Like,
Right.
we just get together before the show and play. You know, okay? So
Right.
that's just the way some bands are, and you know, so that's also a mark of the quality of musicianship you're playing with too. Because the guys that you know can do that. It'll
Sure.
also be tighter if you have every week, obviously.
Yeah.
But you guys can do that. But honestly, looking at it from the outside, what I see is a guy that really needs to take a break, put everything on the back burner, and just do something else for a little while. You don't want to make the decision of, well, whatever, when you're feeling like this. Because
Yeah.
like you said, in a week you might feel different. You get a little sleep, get some good food in you, some good loving, you're good to go again for another 2 weeks.
Wow.
The other thing is that please realize that all of these challenges are surmountable.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's just the way it is as part of being an artist. You know, all of these things, the people not coming to the rehearsals, the shows, all of that you will get around. And once you have a culminative career, because you did tell me you've had a lot of, not a lot, but you've had a few albums out before.
Sure.
Really. But your career didn't really start until you came to San Diego. That's really when it's taken off.
You're right about that.
Okay, and on top of that, you need to, and this is the hardest thing to do, because you're inside feeling all of this negativity, which you're bringing into yourself, because that's where it comes from. At the same time, you just played the San Diego Music Awards at the House of Blues, which most people would get their right arm for. You won
Yeah.
Song of the Year last year at the same function.
And I was very outspokenly fond of the House of
Yeah.
Blues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on and on and on.
Right.
So what you need to do is hold on to those little successes, because they will build into bigger things.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to let them go. They're part of
Right.
what I am and who I am and what I do. And,
Right.
And again, I think you're right. Just taking a step back.
Yeah.
I need to work. I need to make a living right now. I need to save some money for whatever comes in the future. So I'm going to focus on my day job for a little bit, and I'm not going to force myself to write when something comes. If it comes out, if it's good, maybe I'll share it. You know, that's kind of where I am at right now.
Just taking a step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
taking a step. Taking a
but
break.
keep going out. Sit in with people, do other things, keep your foot in.
I'm going to keep gigging.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, exactly. Because the hardest thing to do is to get back in, get the momentum back after you've stepped too far back.
I know.
You're just done for a while.
I know.
So you don't want to do that. But yeah, you need to take a break. And I will say, how many bands, how many behind the musics, etc., have you seen where they said, if only we'd taken a break?
Right.
If only if just 3 month break and we would have been fine. You know, so that's kind of where you're at right now. But I really want you to think about not only the positive place you've got in the community, because everybody loves Ariel Levine. I mean, come on. It's true. It's
Most
true.
of us do, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
But beyond that,
It's a fact.
And that matters.
It's facts.
it does matter. Beyond that, you've actually have scored some major successes in there. And the problem, of course, is that you can't eat a music award. It doesn't help you pay the rent.
Right.
And
that
so on and
right?
so forth. So all that kind of stuff is taken into account. But you know what? Cumulatively, it will add up. And if you keep going at it over the years, like I said, I'm 20 years on you. Like I said, he was telling me that he's got, you know, boxes of his current album available in his garage.
Yeah.
And you guys should all buy one if you need a copy of it. And I was telling him, I wish I had copies of my album that I had 20 years ago sitting in
Yeah.
my garage, because I could sell them all.
Yeah.
So, you know, in 20 years...
Life's going to be great in 20 years.
Yes, absolutely. No, you've got to just keep looking at it like that, because, you know...
That's the long game.
I'll quote,
It's
yeah,
the long
It
game.
is the
Ah,
long
yeah,
way
yes.
game, and I will quote Monty Python, "You're not dead yet."
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, it's...
Well, this has been my second therapy session of the day, and
I did promise to flag it, but I was compelled. And once again, Bart Mendoza and Ariel Levine are hashing it out on Theory Thursday. This is special stuff. I'm very proud of this, ladies and gentlemen.
Breaking. Yeah.
yeah.
Breaking news.
Well, I know I do appreciate all your
So,
advice and
so you're
words.
still gigging. You're just gonna take a little
I'm
breather.
not. Here's the deal. I'm not saying yes to everything right now.
I see what you're
I'm
saying.
still gigging because if I don't get up on stage and play, like I said, I'll die.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll just
with-
wither
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So
For a
that's
musician,
absolutely
the
true.
single most important thing the single most important thing a musician can do is learn to say no.
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm
a
teaching
promoter.
myself to say no.
Hmm.
That's one thing. My original music is going on the back burner. If somebody wants to pay me a couple $100, $100 or whatever to show up and play 3 hours of covers, hell yeah, I'll be there. Well, depending.
Hey, you know what? True Stories, my current band. Manual Scan does Manual Scan, Shambles do the Shambles. But True Stories, we decided to split into, we do cover band gigs
Yeah.
and we do all originals gigs, you know? But you shouldn't stop doing the original stuff, even if it just means going out there with an acoustic guitar and doing the occasional thing of Bart Pink or something.
I have to learn how to do that. I have to learn how to do it without relying on a band, and that's been another one of my issues too.
Well, the other thing too is, I don't know. I know all your players, but I don't know what your situation is with them. But with my bands, it's all for one for all. We're not concerned about getting paid.
Right.
We're not concerned about audience draw. We're not. I mean, yes, we are, but not. That's not our priority. Our priority is
Right.
making the music good. So you need to. I don't know what your situation is with all your players.
You like to enjoy your stage time with your band. Is that what you're saying? Like that's important in the band
No,
situation?
the band has to be like family, so that if we do a gig and we don't get paid because something went wrong, it's just part of all our collective thing. It's not
Fair
like
enough.
I'm the drummer, I get $50 and you got to pay me and I'll do another gig with you kind of thing.
Right.
It's got to be like organic and friends. And I've got people that like, I'm not going to name names, like you, who don't want to play because they feel that musicians should get X amount of money per gig, and I want to
Right.
give everybody at least $100 per gig. You're playing to 30 people at a coffee shop. You're not going to make $700.
Sure.
Okay, that's not your situation. But I'm just-
not necessarily.
Guess I should
no.
adjust my thinking there, huh?
but
Slightly.
like, make sure you're playing with people that will play with you even if there's no money.
My band is a family to a certain degree,
Yeah.
obviously. And,
Obviously,
and-
you got costs. Obviously, things in it. Obviously,
Yeah.
we want as much money as we can get.
Right.
But
Right, but again, my goal was to be like, let's really be an all for one for all family, and I didn't see it happening. Not for any bad reasons,
Yeah.
again, and I know, we'll still be there for each other. The keyboardist and I we're played
She's
in
in
New York.
kindergarten, right?
Yeah, she was in
Kindergarten.
kindergarten in New York. We've played with each other for 15 years. Eric and I have toured together in 2011 and have been playing together ever since, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah. Well, that's a good thing. Just keep the original stuff going, and
Just said I'm no.
I was a little.
you got it.
Speaking of the original stuff,
Yeah.
don't you have a show coming up with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of which,
yeah.
of course I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to again. I want to.
You know-
I want to see if this can get me to write write music differently too.
For whatever it's worth, and this is just me
Just
speaking
shifting gears.
about.
Yeah.
Stepping back.
I
and
hate playing
slowing
live
down.
acoustic.
Yeah.
I hate playing solo.
Me too.
I cannot stand it, and that's why I play with Dave Fleminger.
Right.
Because he's a genius, first of all.
Yeah.
But it helps to have the other person there. That makes me a little more confident I can do it.
Right.
But I don't like to play live
I
solo
think
at all.
David Fleminger should have his middle. What's his middle name? His middle name should be Reverb.
Wow, that's weird. I don't know Dave's middle name, man. I've known him since
Just in case, David, if you're watching, I
Since
think
what,
your middle
10th?
name should be Reverb.
11th grade.
So yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So
So your show coming
Oh,
up.
oh, yeah.
Yes, but yes. So Casbah, Friday, March 22nd,
I can't wait for this.
will
be
be
Whose will be?
the last show before a hiatus of undisclosed time.
Vacation.
Vacation. So we're not accepting shows at this time, and that will be the last one. And we have a special guest drummer. Speaking of Eric, my sweet little Eric, he's got to go do some family stuff. So Patrick DeWitt will be on drums that night.
you ever play with Josh Weinstein?
Yeah, he started. Well, Josh and I played in a bunch of projects together,
Okay.
and he played the first few Mechanical Royalty gigs with me. Speaking of Josh Weinstein, after that, April 4th at Blonde Bar, I'm producing a Tom Waits tribute night, and Josh.
I'm
will be
so
playing
looking
on it.
forward to that.
And for what it's worth, Josh is playing with
He's
Manual
kind of the
Scan
man.
now.
when it
Wow.
comes to-
He is.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
awesome.
kind of
already
the
done a few
go-to
gigs
guy
with us.
for the
Weinstein.
for yeah.
Mr.
he's
Weinstein
got,
getting
I know,
lots
it's-
of
yeah,
love
that,
on the
that
show.
whole Queen thing was
That's great.
insanely.
I
Josh
know.
played
Let
with
me
us.
please get another
Thank
keyboard
you.
player in this town, please.
Yeah.
And
Well, gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
we're at the
We still
one
didn't
and-
promote the show.
and-
though. Who else
and-
playing on the show? April 14th.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you.
much for asking. March 22nd,
Yeah.
Casbah. Veronica May,
Veronica May.
will be headlining that evening.
Veronica
I
May.
adore Veronica May.
Everybody does.
She was
I
also
should.
a winner.
She's
We
awesome.
didn't
Well, yeah,
mention.
we did. We mentioned.
Dresses like Elvis Costello, sings like Amy Mann.
Yeah.
The Have-Nots will also be playing that
Also a
evening.
winner.
Winners?
Yeah, also
Yes.
winners.
Winners.
She'll be
They
back.
won
two,
two, right?
two awards.
They won,
Very
yeah.
good. Best recording
And
and
best new
Best new
artist.
best
Yeah.
new
Yes.
artist. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Well, I was just gonna throw a little steam on us, like, hey, let's wrap this up. I had a
Okay.
fantastic time here.
I want to throw one last plug. True Stories, May 4th, Flint Springs Barbecue.
Andy's place.
Andy's
Very
place,
nice.
yeah. So we're doing 3 hours. So first set, all original. Second set, everything from the Partridge Family to Wire. So
Okay.
Wow.
Going out.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Theory Thursday this evening. This is our first episode of the panel discussion. And thank you very much, Emily Bartel, for hanging out with us this evening and chiming in. Very lovely. Thank you for coming over.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Bart Mendoza,
thank you, sir.
you're so great. Thank you for all the work that you do, and thank you for everything that he does for our channel. Ariel, you know I
Thank
love
you.
you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I want to
having
be
me.
in your
Yes,
band
always.
just in
Thank you
case.
for having me.
You got some-
Jason, take it away, baby.
All right, guys. Thanks again for watching and enjoying this first chat show that we decided to do. Our next live chat episode number 2 will be with Mr. Tim Piles on April 11th with a special guest. So there's that. Also, like to thank Mr. Cthulhu Chief Dave
Yeah,
Wright,
we love you, Dave.
flying the ship through the window
You know,
every day,
most of all,
once
though,
a week.
let's thank our studio audience. Thank
Yes.
you. It's
Yes.
Always say the studio.
That's
audience.
right.
It's
The Muzio drum kit right there.
Well,
And
yeah,
John
it's-
Muccio drum set, yes.
It's,
Yeah.
That's
Also, go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know you're getting notified. Also, sign up to one of our patrons. Patreon patrons. And our
Support.
website, theorythursday.com. I think
Support
that's it.
local
Thanks,
music.
guys, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And it's been fun.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Oh, what's our guest next week? Theory Thursday next week. Cut out right there. Smoke machine. Let's go smoke
The
some.
smoke machine's not working.
I needed to warm up.
Wow. Was this your, are we still on the air?
Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.